Hi, Topher here. So, 50,000 subscribers. My mind is blown. I can't believe it. So, let's look at some of our Ask Me Anything questions from the members. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a member. It's so awesome. Really motivates me. So thank you. Okay, let's look at some of our questions. Let's look at the Patreon questions first. Patreon. KK asks, is there any chance you'll move to another city in Taiwan? Yeah, I'd say there's a chance. I really love Kaohsiung, but I don't love the pollution in Kaohsiung. So if I move, it'll probably either be because of like an economic opportunity, like a job opportunity, or because I'm trying to get away from pollution. Okay. Then KK asks, I'm taking 3 children, ages 15, 13, and 10, with lousy English to study in Houston after summer vacation. Any advice to the kids and me? Going to Houston, Texas. Okay, well, I've been to Houston once, maybe twice. Be careful on the roads. Be careful driving in Houston. Texas is one of those places where there's like no real public transportation, maybe buses. So you have to be very careful when you're driving. I would also recommend find some good Mexican food. Mexican food is amazing. I love it. A lot of great Mexican food in Texas because it's so close to Mexico. Okay, Kevin from Patreon asks, have you found American restaurants in Taiwan that you like? Yeah, I have. There's one that I eat out a lot. Well, I do a lot of Uber Eats from it. It's called Beast Bar and Grill here in Kaohsiung. Kevin also asks, in your opinion, what is one immediate area that the Taiwanese can improve militarily? Drones, drone technology, drones and anti-drone warfare. It's very clear to me that drones are going to be a major future in warfare and in defense. So drones. Okay, that looks like it's all for the Patreon questions. Let's go to the YouTube membership questions. Fanny Tekwong, sorry, I probably mispronounced that. Fanny Tekwong 4960 asks a few questions. Number 1, if the PRC do invade Taiwan at that war day, what strategy is the best way you can think for the people who can't fly away from this island? The best strategy to keep them and their families safe. The best strategy is actually to make a plan before that happens and to stick to that plan. And the biggest aspect is to don't panic. Just make a plan, stick to the plan. If you're a little prepared, that will go a long way. So stockpile on some food and some water, and just have a plan of where everyone is going to meet. Everyone is going to meet at grandma's house or whatever it is, okay? And just stick together. And you'll have to decide what to do as the situation evolves. Okay? So the best thing for an ordinary citizen to do is to already have a plan in place to keep their family safe, have a couple of backup supplies, and I would say get trained, okay? Like go to the Kuma Academy, get trained in things like first aid and that type of emergency preparedness training. A little bit of training, a little bit of preparation goes a very long way, and it'll help you with your confidence in an emergency. Okay, question 2. For the above strategy, which part of Taiwan do you think is safer than any other region? Oh, if an invasion happens, the mountains. Mountains would be the safest. Question 3. If we live nearby military facilities like helicopter camp, are we potentially more dangerous than living in another place? Okay, so is it more dangerous to live near the military facilities, near a military base? All right, technically, yes, a little more. I don't think it's that much more dangerous that you should move, though, if you do live near one. If we live nearby a semiconductor factory, will that be safer assuming the PRC don't want to destroy the valuable property. All right, so a semiconductor factory would be safer against the PRC because they wouldn't target those. They would want to capture those. However, the U.S. might target those if it looks like the PRC is going to capture it. So I would say it's probably the same degree of danger as a military facility. Again, don't move because you live next to one. All right, question 5. Up until now, the best strategy I have is to prepare a safe house in nearby mountains away from the major city. When the PRC invades, we'll go there and stay there. What do you think about my strategy? We can't join the war since we're mostly senior citizens. All right, I think that's a good strategy to have. Sounds great. Make sure that house is already kind of prepared with things like water, maybe a generator or solar power, something like that to provide electricity. The big issue with that is don't panic if there is a conflict. I think a lot of people will probably be rushing to the mountains. The roads might be very dangerous, okay? A lot of people would be injured or killed in accidents, traffic accidents, just trying to escape the cities. So don't panic. You might not want to flee to your safe house right away. And there's probably going to be a long heads up, at least a week, probably more like a few months of advance notice that the PRC is actually going to try and invade Taiwan itself. So you might, if you get that kind of advance notice, you might want to move your family to that safe house ahead of time. Next member, Daishuan Kreisai 8003. Again, I'm sorry if I'm getting your username wrong. After the war, do you feel that the heavy pain, trauma, and negative impacts have all passed for you, or do some parts still affect you? With trauma, it's not really, how should I say this? It's like if you get a deep cut, you're going to have a scar. And even if it doesn't hurt, you'll still see that scar. Okay, so my perceptions are forever changed because of my experiences in combat. The way I view things, the way I think about things, it's all changed. It's forever changed. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's pretty rare that I have like a nightmare. Now it's rare that I have a nightmare. Initially, the first several years, I would have constant nightmares, cold sweats, grinding my teeth at night. It's not at all the level that it used to be. So I think I've recovered quite a lot. I know I've recovered quite a lot. How long do you think it took for you to transition from a state with many aspects needing repair to a more balanced state? Years and years and years. Long time. There's a few things I could have done to advance that, a few mistakes I made along the way. As mentioned in the previous videos, collaborated with others. For example, alcohol was definitely not helpful in such situations. Yes, it wasn't. Can you talk about what you think has helped you to get through, as well as things you've tried but absolutely do not recommend or find unhelpful? All right, dealing with trauma, do not deal with heavy drinking, alcohol, not good. Yeah, really bad. Big mistake. I never really tried this, but I've heard that group therapy, group talk therapy is a really good thing for moving on past trauma with people who have experienced similar types of trauma. Meditation for me was awesome, and exercise was really important for me. And before the military and in the military, I did do some meditation a little bit, and I exercised a lot. And after I got out, I really stopped exercising for a long time, and I wish I didn't. I think if I kept up with the exercise, it would have really helped me a lot. Now, as far as like a good routine, though, avoid alcohol, exercise, meditate, and maybe talk to people who are sharing that trauma. Go to therapy. There's no shame in going to therapy. Says the guy who never went to therapy. Okay, this is translated. If China adopts a blockade by surrounding Taiwan with ships cutting off electricity and gas, Taiwan officials say that gas is only enough to last for 2 weeks, and Taiwan will soon run out of these resources. Taiwan's own food will soon be in short supply. Do you think Taiwan has a way to solve this problem? In addition, many people discuss how long Taiwan can survive the war. Do you think it's 2 weeks? Do you think it's 1 month? Okay, so a blockade would almost certainly fail because the United States sells a lot of food to Taiwan. It's like, I think Taiwan is the number 7 or number 8 customer for the United States. Most of that's agricultural products as food. So the U.S. would escort their food into Taiwan, right? They want to keep that economic corridor open. And the U.S. also wants its semiconductors and other things that Taiwan makes to go back to the U.S. So a blockade by China would not last very long. It would be escorted. It would be breached by the United States. And how long can Taiwan survive the war? That really depends. If it's a blockade, I don't think a blockade would last very long. So now, if the PLA did actually have a successful invasion, were able to capture a port and or establish a beachhead and send troops in and invade Taiwan, I think that Taiwan could have a resistance that would last for years and years and years. Okay, Taiwan is a big place. The cities are difficult to fight in. The mountains and the jungles are even harder to fight in. So there's a lot of advantages for the defender. Valineu, have you heard of Taiwan's famous honor corps? And there's a YouTube link. All right, let's watch the video. I haven't heard of it, but it sounds like it's probably an honor guard. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it's what I thought it was. This is actually pretty impressive. You have to be pretty tall, it looks like, to be in Taiwan's honor corps. And they practice a lot of drill and ceremony, is what that's called. It's basically like, it's kind of like a dance with rifles. They work around a lot of like visiting foreign dignitaries and events, parades, that kind of thing. So it's a harder job than it looks like. It looks like they do a good job. Next question. 2 questions. What are the chances that Trump will be elected president of the United States? Oh, no. Oh, boy. Okay. Trump already lost to Biden once. Okay. Trump hasn't really gained a lot of supporters since that last election. And he has lost a lot of supporters since that last election. Okay, he's done a lot of things. The whole January 6th thing, that really turned people away from him. So although he is the Republican frontrunner, a lot of people have just left the Republican Party. And it's not like people are voting for Biden, they're voting against Trump, right? But I think his chances are worse than they were when he already lost to Biden. I could be very wrong about that, but that's just my personal opinion. Second question. As far as your military expertise is concerned, what are the priorities for Taiwan's military to improve? All right, well, I already talked about drones. Another priority, though, would be to get more like decentralized air defense and anti-tank weapons, okay? So lots of more decentralized, which means like instead of like one platform, one ship that has a bunch of air defensive capabilities, maybe lots and lots of shoulder-mounted Stinger missiles. The more decentralized and the more spread out Taiwan's military is, the more hidden it can be. It's harder for Chinese air to attack it. So there's just more targets, harder targets to find. Be very effective. I think that was the last question. All right. So, hey, thanks a lot. Thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Peace. Love. See ya.